Hello everybody, my name is Dee and welcome to Books and Quirks. Today is Friday again, so it's time for another Friday Reads. I finally feel better from my cold and my cough that I had all last week, so I'm happy that I can just read and go out this weekend because I really didn't go out that much last weekend, even though it was a holiday because you know how it is. Anyway, let me get right into the books that I'll be reading this weekend. So the first book that I'll be reading this weekend is The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. I heard about this book from Cheryl's channel. I'll link her channel down below. And this just sounded really intriguing, and I love reading anything regarding history. So The Radium Girls, I'm about 3/4 of the way through. So The Radium Girls takes place in the 1920s and 1930s. This is nonfiction, so it's a true story about these young girls and young women that worked in a watch factory. Back in the 1920s, it was shortly after Madame Curie discovered radium. It was discovered in the at the very end of the 19th century, I believe. And radium was like a big deal when it first was discovered. You know, it can make things glow in the dark, and it was used in a bunch of different products, and nobody knew the intense danger that radium posed to, you know, the human body, and not just the human body, but anything in the in the surrounding area. So, I mean, we all know now, obviously, in this day and age, what radium can do, but it wasn't known back then. So there was two radium factories, one in Ottawa, Illinois, and one in Newark, New Jersey. And these two factories were mass producing watches because during World War I, they discovered that they can make these watches glow in the dark so that soldiers can see at night the time and everything. So they were painting these watches with a radium solution, and a lot of these girls were very young, you know, 14, 15, sometimes even younger than that. Even though you had to be, I think, 16 to work, you know, girls slid in lying about their age so that they could help out the family and make money for their family. So throughout the 1920s, the girls were working, they were making really good money, and when they went out at night, they would glow in the dark from head to toe because the radium solution that they used to paint the watches with was this powder, and it would get everywhere. Um, and I mean, it was really strange to read about, but really intriguing as well. Now, as you can imagine, as the years went on, um, you know, 2 years, 3 years or more working in these factories, things started to happen. The girls started falling ill. There were also young women, you know, older women working in these factories as well in their 20s and 30s, but a lot of them were also very young girls. And they started falling ill, you know, with different kinds of things, and not all at the same time either. You know, radium affected each one differently. Um, some girls just started to, you know, the symptoms started with just being, you know, overly tired and maybe losing their breath while going out for even a short walk. Some, you know, just had some pains in their backs and their knees. Um, some had, you know, mouth problems. Mouth problems was prevalent. And by mouth, I mean um, jaw and teeth. Because what these girls were taught to do in these factories was to put the paintbrush in their lips to sort of wet the paintbrush, and then dip it in the powdery solution paint that they were using, and then paint the dials. So it was like this chant that they did, like lip dip paint. Like it was I know I laugh, but I mean, it was really horrific what happened to these women. And these women, you know, when you have radium poisoning, you suffer, I mean, it's the worst suffering anybody can ever imagine. Um, and these girls, even though it was the 1920s and 30s, they fought tooth and nail, even through their suffering, to make sure that the radium companies paid. I mean, and it wasn't an easy task either. I mean, this went on for years to years. But yeah, I highly recommend this book if you like history. It's a part of history that I never knew about. I mean, everyone heard of knows about Madame Curie and her discovery, but nobody knew about this time period where radium was like the it thing. Like it was the thing that everyone wanted, and these jobs were, you know, coveted jobs. So yeah, I highly recommend this book. I will link Cheryl's channel down below. But yeah, really interesting. And I only have about 100 more pages to go. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this played out, you know, once all the litigation is finished and everything. So the next book that I plan to get to this weekend is another book that I'm just finishing up, and that is because it's a reread, and that is Blythewood by Carol Goodman. I told you last week that I read this book quite a few years ago. I didn't really remember anything about it. I just remember that I enjoyed it, that it was a good story, it was a decent story, and you know, it did intrigue me enough that I wanted to continue on and finish the series. I just never did. So I am about halfway through Blythewood, and so this is a YA fantasy / historical fiction, even a little bit. This takes place in the early 20th century as well, and it follows a young girl named Ava. Ava is she's a poor young working girl, about 16 years old. She lives with her single mother, and she doesn't go to school. She works in a like shirt factory, where she's basically the breadwinner of the family. Her mother isn't very well, and she brings home the bacon, so to speak, working, and it's honest work, and she's a really hard worker. She really values the friendships that she has. One day, while working in this factory, there is a fire, and Ava starts seeing some strange things, to the point where she thinks she's going crazy. She sees a strange man in a cape and top hat, a very evil-looking man. I don't mean a dapper man. I mean a very evil-looking man. And also, she seems to be seeing this young boy who is sometimes has wings and sometimes doesn't. And he seemingly saves her from the fire. And through certain events, I don't want to spoil anything, but through certain events, she finds out that she does have a family member that she never knew about, which is her grandmother. And her grandmother is the mistress of Blythewood Academy. Blythewood Academy is in upstate New York, and it is a very elite boarding school for girls, and it is very mysterious too. Ava knows about Blythewood because her mother used to talk nostalgically about it, not really giving a whole lot of details to Ava, but she knew that her mother went there. And Blythewood is surrounded in mystery and intrigue, and Ava knows from the start that there are secrets that Blythewood is holding. And the secrets might lead her to find out what exactly happened to her mother, because her mother suffered a lot in her life and was almost haunted in a way. And also, who is her father? Like, where did she come from? What are the secrets that the school is holding? Because she doesn't know who her father is either. This is a really fun read. It's not anything really special, but I find it to be a really fun read. And I cannot wait to get to the end of this. And then once I get to the end of this, and then I plan to go right into the second book, which is Ravencliff. It's a very short book, so these shouldn't be a problem. I shouldn't have a problem finishing up these this week. So yeah, that is all I have for Friday reads. I may pick up something else during the week depending on how I feel, because the thing is, you know, with Radium Girls and Blythewood, I only have a little bit to finish up, and Ravencliff is a very short book, so I'll see how I feel during the week. I hope you all are having a great week. I hope you all have great plans for the weekend. I can't wait to see what you all are reading. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.